So today's video, we're going to be talking about building your coloring book empire, and that is only going to happen if you publish more books. And we're going to be talking about whether you should be using AI and when you should be using AI. So before we get into this, my name is Chris. I've been publishing on Amazon for over 10 years, but over the last sort of 2 to 3 years, I've settled on doing the whole coloring book thing because I want to build an entire brand. And I see so many people writing off coloring books in 2025 and beyond simply because they are not adapting and doing things horribly wrong, which we're going to talk about in this videos today. So I'm going to be showing you some extremely interesting stats and perspectives from my own books that I've published recently. I publish books every single month, 2, 3, 4 books every single month. I'm going to show you how we managed to do that whilst keeping the quality very, very high. So there's this notion that you cannot sell a 100% AI created book. They do exist and they do sell. So it's not to say that every single book sells. In fact, the vast majority of AI coloring books will fail. In fact, the vast majority of any type of book is going to fail. That's one of the harsh realities behind selling on a third-party platform. However, we are in a time, for example, as you can see on the screen here, I created the interior idea for the book cover idea for this book on the left-hand side here. The idea for the book was from ChatGPT plus a little bit of thought. Then ChatGPT created this page here, and then Nana Banana came up with this here. Within the space of about 2 to 3 minutes, we've come up with a really awesome looking book cover. Yes, I know there's inconsistencies on this, spelling errors, etc., etc. But the point is, we're at a time where we can come up with these amazing ideas, amazing covers, and test these new ideas on Amazon in record time. And that's something that people don't talk about. Like I said, in 2025, 2026, and beyond, with the introduction of AI, as more people are doing this, we need to start publishing more books and testing more ideas so that we can find the winning books a lot faster. Whilst everybody else, 99% of people doing this, they're only going to publish between 1 and 5 books, and they're going to copy what Coco Wire and Jade Summer are doing. They're going to spend a ton of money on advertising, lose it, get demotivated, and quit. That's fine. If you're super serious, make sure you watch the entirety of this video. So let's talk about the problem here. And I'm going to come back to this image on the right in just a second. But does creating an AI coloring book, 100% AI, put you into that kind of premium bracket of books? And the answer is probably not. And I will explain how all of this fits into building your coloring book empire as we go through this video, because it all kind of works together here. So there's always going to be these slight inconsistencies across the interiors. I say always, but AI is advancing at a stage now where if you glanced at the page on the right-hand side, you probably couldn't tell if it was hand-drawn or if it was created with AI. I'm going to leave that down to you to decide. And one thing you're going to notice about AI coloring books is that they're all going to look very inconsistent. The page style, if you look at a lot of these kind of Jade Summer, Coco Wire ripoff books, you'll see that every page is different. That's because the person using the AI tools doesn't know what they're doing. They're trying to rush out a product onto the marketplace and ultimately end up getting bad reviews because it doesn't satisfy the customer. Okay, so it does not mean, because of this, it does not mean that AI coloring books don't sell. And I'm tired of pretending like they don't, because there are AI books selling this year, this week, last year, next year. They will continue to sell on Amazon. It doesn't mean it's the optimal pursuit for building a premium brand, but let's not ignore the fact that they are definitely selling on Amazon. There are certain niches where you can create the book, a premium book, in my opinion, that are 100% created by AI. In fact, we're doing a case study today for the Raydog members. We're doing a case study where I'm creating an entire book, high quality book, within one whole day. That's the book cover, the interior, and the A+ content within one day. So therefore, the production cost of this book is going to be extremely low, but there are things that we need to consider when it comes to going to 100% AI. So I know that this is going to be a very sensitive topic, but you can see that there are clearly 100% AI produced coloring books selling on Amazon that have got ratings of 4.4, 4.5, 4.6. And it's very strange because, well, it's not strange because people are very passionate about being anti-AI, which is fair enough. That's not a debate that I'm going to get into today. But you will see on Amazon, these books are selling. And if they're at a 4.5 star rating, it means that they are good. And it means that the average customer is happy with them. So like I said, I don't think for most niches that you can get to that premium quality unless you are hiring an illustrator to touch up the image for you. So this is the stage where I'm at. And if I was going to recommend how people progressed, it would be from doing the work yourself with AI, putting in lots of reps to learning ChatGPT and Nanobanana, and then progressing toward hiring an illustrator to get you into that premium bracket, which is what we do at the moment. Is what is allowing us to publish 3 to 4 very high quality books, testing new ideas every single month, which I honestly don't think any other publisher is doing it. It's something that we talk about on the Raydog live calls every single Friday. We talk about doing this so that people can speed up the amount of books that they're creating, decrease the production cost whilst testing more ideas. Okay. So another powerful way that you can do this is by using your own reference images. You should not be using anybody else's. What we tend to do is have an image illustrated by the artist, and then we put their reference image back into the AI tools to help us create more images. So one thing that I think is costing people a lot of time and a lot of money when doing the whole AI thing, or just publishing coloring books in general, is trying to target niches that are out of your league. So the typical Cocoa Wire, cozy, comfortable, whatever you want to call them niches, whilst it's good, whilst these are good niches to get into, I think it's a very hard to reach the same level as Cocoa Wire. So we're going to talk about what you can do to stand out when everybody else is doing these exact same books. And honestly, the marketplace has seen all of these books already. And what people are doing is just publishing what's been seen and made a lot better with more reviews, more advertising spend, more credibility, and then trying to do the exact same thing. So it goes against everything that makes sense in terms of selling a product on a marketplace like this. So there is a bigger problem when it comes to hiring an illustrator. Is hiring somebody going to be worth it for your business? So we should never, yes and no again, we should never, ever, ever spend money on something for our business unless it's going to be proportionately worth it for that business. So if you think spending $600, for an example here, if you think spending $600 plus any advertising fees that you put into a book is going to be worth it for a business that is solely operating on Amazon, a third-party platform where books are going to fail, then you have been misinformed. So again, it's not to say, for example, this is from somebody's Fiverr gig here. This is not to say this person doesn't produce amazing work. It's not to say that at all. It's what's worth it for you. You're not here to fund somebody else's business and lose money. You're here to make money and grow your business. So paying an illustrator upwards of $600, I've seen it $2,000, $3,000 for a coloring book in this day and age is absolutely ridiculous. At this stage, when we have the likes of Nanobanana, I believe Nanobanana 2 is going to be coming out soon. You should not be paying for a book cover. In fact, a lot of the book covers that we're publishing now, I am actively doing those book covers myself as somebody that has pretty much zero knowledge when it comes to designing book covers. And for the most part, honestly, you're going to find that you can do a better job than an illustrator or a graphic designer that you find from Fiverr or Upwork. You can do a much better job just through using the AI tools, I can pretty much promise you. And this is one of the reasons why I created the Raydog membership, because I wanted to include live, up-to-date calls. So every single Friday, we have live calls, live group calls where people can come and see what I'm getting up to, what tools that I'm using. I take loads of questions from people at the end as well. It's a really, really fantastic place to be if you want to be up to date with the latest, especially when it comes to coloring books, the latest techniques, etc., etc. We use a lot of Nanobanana, a lot of ChatGPT. We have some very specific calls on this. I do calls about my best-selling books, my upcoming books. I showcase every single book that I publish myself. If it wins, if it loses, I show everything that I'm doing. I do case studies on my own books. I do actual niche research, which pretty much everybody gets wrong on YouTube. We do back to basics calls as well for people that are new and just want to go back to the fundamentals to making sure they have a good starting plan. We do all kinds of calls on Q4. We do a lot of calls where we take a look at other people's books inside of the Discord group and analyze them to see what they can do better. And from day one, the membership comes with all the course content that you can need. If you do learn from course content, we've decided to include that. So niche research, keyword research, Amazon ads, etc., etc. And on top of all of this, we have an absolutely amazing Discord community where people can come in and get feedback on what they're doing. You can get feedback from me, you can get feedback from other successful sellers. You can get tons of feedback on what you're doing, as you can see here. You can get feedback on your Amazon ads if you want people to check out the stats for Amazon ads to help you make a decision on that. You can just come in, you can talk about anything that you want to inside of the Pro Chat, anything publishing related, should I say, to make sure that you're always up to date with the best niches, best tools, etc., etc. I'm active in here every single day giving feedback. If you want to check it out, all this is included. It's at chrisraydog.com. It's linked in the description below. Again, this is the type of thing that people need to know in 2025 and beyond, is that you shouldn't be doing things like paying for book covers anymore when you can do a lot of it yourself. So it is simply not proportionate to the risk that is involved with selling on these third-party platforms. So I see some people spending upwards of $1,000 per book, and it really just isn't worth the risk. No matter how high the quality is, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, the marketplace will decide which books win for you and which ones lose. I'm going to show you some stats from my latest books to give you a clear example of that. Okay, so for a premium coloring book, and I use the word premium lightly because I do believe that there are some AI books that can look premium, but if you're going to be hiring an illustrator, then I would not be looking to invest more than $200 per book, and you should be growing yourself toward that point. And also, for that price, we'd be expecting the illustrator to be doing the book covers themselves as well. So regarding hiring an illustrator, for all illustrators going forward, whether people like this or not, they should be utilizing AI into their workflow. So if you're hiring an illustrator, you should make sure that they are utilizing AI. So it's not a case of paying an illustrator less, it's a case of expecting around 3 times more back from them. For illustrators that want to thrive through the AI changes, then they should be using AI in their workflow to create more content with people that they're going to hire, which is why we're seeing a lot of illustrators using their jobs because they're losing their jobs because they're refusing to add AI into their workflow. It's as simple as that, unfortunately, I know. And especially if you're going to die on this hill where you're coming into this with the attitude that you're going to build a high quality book and you have to have an illustrator 100% hand drawn coloring book. If you're new, this will likely crush your motivation instantly. And I'm big on keeping people motivated by not overspending on content creation, not overspending on their Amazon ads, because that is the quickest way combined that you'll lose money and you will quit this and you won't end up being successful. Okay. So, like I said, most publishers end up publishing in these kind of hot niches. They hire expensive illustrators. Here's a spoiler alert. These hot niches that you see, they're probably not going to do anything for you. Okay, been down this road. Yes, it can work sometimes. It's not what works for coloring books. Okay, it's also not going to work if you get into one of these hot niches and have it all hand drawn because you think the customer can tell that it's better quality. Ignore all of that. Like, yes, I would say there are some cases where this is true, but for the most part, customers aren't going to care if you do this well. And again, to reiterate, this is why a lot of people quit, especially when it comes to doing coloring books, because most publishers simply cannot afford this investment into this type of content. So for your book covers, you should be looking at a $0 production cost. This is a big deal because it wasn't that long ago. It was about a year ago that people like me were paying $200 per book cover, outsourcing the book cover process. And now we can do all of this ourselves and we can match the quality. Okay, so just a very quick example. What we do, we're taking the illustrations that we create and then we put them into Nano Banana. So whether it's hand drawn, whether it's AI, that goes into Nano Banana. And then we start testing lots of different color palettes. Again, yes, I know there's inconsistencies. We did this within about 5 to 10 minutes here, and we can come back with some incredible looking book covers for free. And yes, I am also aware that there's the Nano Banana watermark at the bottom right of each page as well. So what it comes down to is, what are you willing to invest comfortably? I spoke about this last week with the video that I did. What are you willing to invest comfortably if you want to create, let's say, 10 to 20 books? You have to publish more books. So what are you willing to spend to create 10 to 20 books? If it's going to be nothing, then it has to be AI. Okay, if you can only afford infrequent releases, then you have to go with AI. I'm going to talk again very briefly toward the end of this video why it's so important that you understand what you're willing to invest. Because if you go down this road of hiring an illustrator, if you, let's say you have a budget of $500 and somebody recommends that you go to Fiverr and you spend that $500 on a one coloring book, I can guarantee if you're a beginner, it will not sell for you. Okay, this is just the nature of Amazon. You have to go through the phases to get to the good books. You have to grow through those phases. It's going to happen. Of course, some people do get lucky with their first books, but we're talking about your average publisher. Okay, so the optimal scenario currently is to allow around 95% of the work through AI, and then it gets touched up by an illustrator. And like I said, the most I'd be willing to spend per book and the absolute maximum is $200. Okay. But again, I've grown myself to that point. If I was looking to spend less, then maybe I would go. If I was starting now, not 2 years ago, I don't think AI was good enough. But now I think if you put the repetitions in, to learning the prompts and going through the shitty ones that don't look quite right, maybe making some adjustments yourself to the pages, I think you can do it for $0. But the absolute most I'd be willing to spend is around $200. And even that feels slightly on the high side. But that's the day and age that we're in now. It's what we have to all think about. I'm also going to explain in the next slide why publishing more books is going to be beneficial for you. There's this kind of don't you dare talk about publishing more books vibe, an attitude that people have, like, oh, you're spamming Amazon with AI content. It's not the case. Like, we're allowed to publish X amount of books. We're allowed to publish AI content if we want to. It's all there on Amazon. We are allowed to do it, and it is beneficial for those that want to do it correctly. Okay, so again, what we look at doing now is testing 30-page books, because there's this notion, once again, that you can only sell 50-page coloring books on Amazon, which is not true. But if you can make 30 pages work, the production cost comes down even more. I'll show you in a second from my account why it's so important that we come up with new ideas and we don't assume that the value the customer takes from our books is the number of pages. Okay, so of course, it's going to depend on how complex the books are that you're having made in terms of the production time and production cost. But what really matters here, it's time. Really, this was something 2-3 years ago people should have been focused on. It's time to stop publishing boring books and take some risks while publishing more books. I'm going to go into my account in a second and show you what I mean by this and why it's so important to publish more books and to test new ideas. I think personally, from what I've seen, like inside of the Raydog membership, I've spoken, and just through YouTube and Facebook over the last 3 years, I've spoken to hundreds of publishers, hundreds of people that are trying to do the coloring book thing. And what I've noticed is that most people, of course, they have very bad results, very high cost per clicks, and very tiny organic sales, which is why I actually showcased this image here, the Cocoa Wire book in the last slide. What I think people are doing is we're getting so caught up in this idea that the only way that we can sell coloring books is if we go after the same niches that Cocoa Wire are going after. Now, these niches, in my opinion, they're not even niches. Things like Little Corner, it's not a niche, right? It's a very broad, very, very broad niche, cute, cozy type of books, coloring books for adults, very, very competitive. And what people are doing, they're coming into these niches, making a less interesting version of these books, and then not having any advertising spend, not having any unique selling point to their books, and they end up with really high cost per clicks, really poor conversions, and therefore really poor organic sales. Okay, so if customers don't click your book and don't buy it, you're probably going to end up going for manual keyword stuff because you read about that somewhere. You're going to pursue these manual keywords because you want to get ranked for the best keywords that exist. You're not going to get any conversions, and Amazon's not going to prioritize your book. It's going to slip off, and then you're going to start spending more on the ads. It's just a very, very poor pursuit. I'm going to go into my account and take a look at an example of the benefits to testing. And we debunk so much bullshit regarding coloring books, because people, including myself inside the Raydog membership, we're actively doing this every single day, and we know what is actually happening. So, for example, people saying that you have to pay $1 for coloring book keywords or some stupid shit like that. It's not true. It's not true at all. But of course, it doesn't mean that every single person will get low cost per clicks. It means you need to publish more books, higher quality books. That's where your cost per click will come down. That's when you'll start seeing more success. That's when you'll get less stressed over spending on the Amazon ads. So you're going to find that with the new price point, or what the suggested price point of $9.99 for your coloring books, if you're going to run ads, especially, what you're going to find is that conversions might be slightly higher than what they were before. Now, one thing, when you do have a good product, I don't know why this is, maybe someone can tell me why, but what I found is that over time, your cost per click for a good product will come down. So for example, this book here, converting at 1 in 30, which is not particularly good, but what we can do, since we have a unique idea, a unique product, what we can do is outweigh the poor conversions. I say poor conversion, these are okay. The poor conversions with a low cost per click. And what we can see from our advertising strategies is that the cost per click is coming all the way down to 18 cent, and we're still getting clicks. And yes, this is a coloring book, a kind of generic coloring book actually, but because the product is good and people are clicking on it, the cost per click is coming down. Again, I don't know why that is, but you do not need to spend, and you should not spend crazy cost per clicks for your coloring books. This can get a little bit funny. So this is another recent book in the last week where we've had 100 clicks to 8 sales, so looking toward that 1 in 10, but the A cost looks very high. Well, the A cost is very high because the cost per click is high, right? So in these cases, you'll look at this and you go, well, it's converting well. The book is doing okay. It's very early. The cost per click is still quite high. So we can comfortably give it a little bit more time because the early signs are good. And I think it's picked up maybe 1 or 2 organic sales already as well. So we look at all these indicators with what we're publishing and make decisions based off of this. Okay, so we need to give this one a little bit longer, for example. But this is the benefit to testing, because once you test more ideas, you'll find the books where the cost per click can come down super low. You'll find the ones that aren't converting, and then you shut those ones off. Again, one of the reasons why I show everything that I'm doing myself inside the membership is because there's no shame. There is no shame at all in your books failing. I keep telling people this. There's no shame in books failing. You're on a third-party platform. You will not make 100% of your books sell unless you have a huge following. And again, to reiterate, this is one of the reasons why publishing more books and testing new ideas is so fantastic, because you'll find what is working. And then, for example, this book here, it's a type of swear word coloring book, converting very well. So we'll probably go ahead and make another one just like this because we've tested it and it appears to be going quite well so far. Above everything else, if you're super, super, super serious about this, super serious, I'm just using this as a placeholder because I like the color palette. You're not ever going to stop people uploading AI slop onto Amazon ever, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to stop. And it's not going to stop being effective either. It's going to get better and better and better. And you have to embrace it for your business. That's just the way that it is. If you're going to do coloring books, I would say you have to do it. Any type of book, things have changed. Things have changed. They are changing rapidly. You can see that. There's not a time in the last sort of few years other than now that you can create a book cover like this in seconds. Okay, it's absolutely ridiculous. And you have to embrace these changes and use the books that you publish as a result of these changes to create high quality books that are just the slice of your entire business. Again, this is why I don't care about how much other shit people are uploading onto Amazon, because this is always operate as this kind of top of funnel for your business, a funnel that is going to collect customer details so that you can build a real business and thrive through any changes, whether Amazon changes, whether AI takes over, whatever happens. You want people to actually build a business through this. So for example, using QR codes in your books, taking the content that you create. Again, this is one of the benefits to creating more content, is that you'll have more content that you can sell as digitals on Etsy, eBay, sell through TikTok, have more content for social media marketing, which we're looking at the moment. In fact, we've just had our Etsy and eBay stuff set up for our pending at the moment, which is very exciting. And again, to keep reiterating, the faster that you're going to find these wins, the faster you can build out your publishing business. Okay, if you want to be a part of this, check out all the Friday calls, be a part of the Friday calls, talk to me on the Friday calls, talk to me and other people inside the Discord, be a part of an amazing community. All the course content is included from day number 1. It's chrisraydog.com. It's going to be linked below. Check it out and I'll see you there.